And seeing as we're in Sydney, there's only one top 10 I can do really, and that is the top 10 Aussie bands or artists of all time, in a Britisher's opinion, of course. So apologies to my Aussie friends for what's about to follow. Some of these bands, to be fair, I only know the odd track or two, so please take that into account. One other thing is Crowded House are excluded because they're already included in my New Zealand list earlier. So anyway, let's get cracking straight on to number 10, and this is a cheat straight away. You'll be used to me cheating as I go through this series, but I've got 3 bands at number 10, basically because I can't choose between them. I don't know enough about them. So 10th equal are the Easy Beats, who were good enough for Bowie to do a cover of Friday on My Mind, I think, on Pin-Ups, wasn't it? Then there's Brisbane's entry into punk, I think, The Saints. And then there's the Melodic Go-Betweens. So they're all 10th equal. What can I tell you? Number 9, Ice House. One of my favourite Aussie tracks, actually, of all time is Hey Little Girl, which was 1982 or thereabouts. And for those drum nerds amongst you, this was the first Aussie track, apparently, where Lindrum programming was used, and they sound pretty good. And Lindrums were part of the evolution of electric drums, and this is a programmable sample of acoustic drums. Anyway, enough drum stuff. Number 8, probably a controversial choice, Empire of the Sun. And this, I understand, was a group formed, almost a super group, combining 2 bands, even though they're only a duo. And We Are the People, I thought, was a weird and wonderful single back in the day. Number 7 is Kylie. And if you excuse all the Stock Aitken Waterman early stuff, I think she's managed to stay on the decent side, if there is a decent side, of disco for all this time, and we love her. What can you say? Number 6, tenuous link to from Kylie to In Excess. I think In Excess were always a bit overrated myself, but I did love the keys on Tear Us Apart, I think. And then there's the whole Paulie Yates, the Tube setup. I felt sorry for Geldof, to be fair. Anyway, number 6, In Excess. Number 5, I sort of struggled to put these guys in there really, because they seem to be massive, but I don't like that much of their stuff. And this is the Bee Gees. And yeah, Saturday Night Fever, sure, I've had a bop. But I don't know if you've ever seen the Clive Anderson walkout. Actually, it's quite funny if you get a chance to look at that ever. Number 4, okay, Guilty Secret Time. Okay, so when I was, I'm going to say 9, but I was probably like 27 or something. When I was 9, I had a crush on Olivia Newton-John. And in the early days, she was on, in the UK, she was on a TV programme with Cliff Richard, if you believe Cliff had his own TV programme. I've got such a bad admission to make, but when Bowie's Young Americans came out, I went into our local record shop, which in those days was W.H. Smith's, if you can believe it. And I bought Young Americans, took it home, played it, didn't like it, because it wasn't like anything else before that he'd done. And of course, you wanted more of that. And so I took it back and I exchanged it for Olivia Newton-John's Greatest Hits. True, absolutely true. Of course, have reversed that decision since, but that's what happened anyway. But the early covers she did of Bob Dylan, If Not For You, and George Harrison, What Is Life, they were great. I thought they were great. Anyway, Olivia Newton-John. Number 3, seems to be very popular at the moment, certainly in the UK, and that's Nick Cave. And I preferred the Nick Cave and Bad Seeds combo. Well, I think we played with Birthday Party in London at one point. Not that I can remember a single thing about it anyway. But Boatman's Call, I think, fabulous, which came out, what, 10, 15 years ago, Boatman's Call. So yeah, Nick Cave at number 3. Did an excellent Desert Island Discs recently as well, if you haven't heard that. Number 2, probably another very controversial one, and this is Baby Animals, Sydney's Baby Animals, Susie Demarche, and the excellent Early Warning, amongst others, Rush You. I like them. Great drum sound, should have been bigger, good rock band all over. So that leaves number 1. Now, who could number 1 possibly be? And I think they're number 1 by a raging mile. Akadaka, AC/DC. What can you say about them that hasn't been said before? I always found it ironic that AC/DC's biggest selling album was as soon as Bon Scott had left us, and Brian took over. That Back in Black, of course, was excellent, but all the stuff before was pretty excellent, I have to say. Just the repetitive riffs. I prefer the rhythm of Malcolm Young, actually. Angus is great live, of course he is, but I think it's Malcolm's chords, repetitive riffs. Loved it. Drums, you can't get straighter drums, even if they're played by somebody who has, let's say, issues. What else can I say about Akadaka? I don't think they've done a good album since Back in Black, to be fair. But some of the early, Let There Be Rock was when I got into them, full of superb rock tracks. And I've seen them twice now, including last year at Wembley. And okay, Brian's voice has had it. You know, I don't know how much longer they're going to be touring, because I imagine when Brian says I can't sing anymore, they'll just pack it up, I should think. But you got to give it to them. The best Aussie band of all time, Akadaka, AC/DC. Okay, if you like this stuff, kindly subscribe, share it, all that stuff, and I'll see you again soon. Okay, cheers. Thanks ever so much. Bye.